The game is over. Your Bucks postgame show starts now. Welcome to Bucks Talk, insight, analysis, and your chance to sound off on the game you just heard. Now to break it all down, here's your host, Justin Garcia.
Well, it's a win. So the Bucks improved to 2-1 on the season. I'm not sure it's a win you feel all that great about. Felt very good about what we saw the first three quarters of this game. And defensively, you felt pretty good about what you saw the first two quarters. We had talked quite a bit following the loss last night about that defense. We heard from Adrian Griffin talking about some of the transition issues that had faced this team as well defensively. It seemed as though those were cleaned up in the first half tonight. And a lot of those connectivity issues, tracking the shooters, getting back in transition, all of that seemed to work tonight. Bobby Portis, a big spark I want to get to as well. But for whatever reason, when the Bucks face the Miami Heat, it just brings out this type of version, this zombie version of the Heat that just simply refuses to go away, especially what we saw in the spring in that first-round series. And we nearly saw it once again tonight with Miami erasing, nearly fully erasing a 25-point deficit and making this closer than it should have been before ultimately falling short. 122-114, our final score here inside of Fiserv Forum. I'm Justin Garcia. You've tuned into Bucks Talk, and we are here until 11 p.m. this evening. There were positive takeaways from this game as well, continued positive takeaways from Giannis when it comes to the free throw shooting. I want to touch on that. But I mentioned Bobby Portis and the boost that he gave this team. We heard some thoughts from head coach Adrian Griffin as well in what Bobby Portis brings to the team. And I do want to get to some of those things that Griff had to say about Bobby Portis. I could tell when I was in Toronto that Bobby was a fan favorite just from being in this building and seeing his interaction. He's so engaging with the fans. He's the people's champion, is what head coach Adrian Griffin said, and talked about his personality, the work that he puts in, his good upbringing, and how passionate he is about the game on and off the court, the passion that he has. You see him with the fans. It's genuine. It's authentic. And it really does seem like, I know I mentioned this briefly during the broadcast with Dave, it really does seem like this is an ideal system for Bobby Portis to play in. That is not by any means a shot at the previous coaching staff or at head coach Mike Budenholzer. I just think when you look at what Adrian Griffin wants to do and how he asks his players to do it, we've touched quite a bit on the changes defensively. This is going to be a much more aggressive defense. You're going to see more fouls and more free throw shooting from the opponent, but they're going to pressure the ball. They're going to step out on the perimeter quite a bit. They're going to go for steals. Bobby Portis has some good hands, and Bobby Portis is certainly not a rim protector. I think when you ask him to step out on the pick and roll, when you ask him to engage with the ball handlers, that's a much better fit than what the Bucks had done in the past. And we saw that in the second quarter when Bobby was a big reason for that spark. Not only the work he was putting in on the glass, the point production he was getting, back-to-back sequences where Bobby Portis' defense led to a steal and a breakaway. Those are the types of plays I think we're going to see quite a bit of from Bobby Portis this upcoming season. It really does seem like what the Bucks are going to do under Adrian Griffin. That system and the way they will play is a perfect fit for Bobby Portis. 855-616-1620 is the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. More of those positives that I mentioned that we saw from Giannis, what it is about this Miami Heat team that just refuses to go away. And we talked quite a bit last night and a little bit on the pregame today as well about the in-season tournament that comes your way on Friday. And we did see a new wrinkle added today as well. We'll explain the details after this on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
We will only sell products we believe in, and we believe in Armstrong Air Furnaces. With variable speed blower and multi-stage performance, Armstrong Air's most advanced furnaces deliver the highest number of features, the most comfort, and the greatest efficiency. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. To me, Armstrong Air is the professional's choice. So see the man in the red van, and we'll get you a furnace you can rely on for the long haul.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
When you need emergency service 24/7, any time of the day, any day of the year, call Quality Heating. With one of Wisconsin's largest HVAC fleets, you can count on us being there in a hurry. So don't worry. This is Anthony Zanevsky with Quality Heating. When you're in a heating or air conditioning jam, just see the man in the red van. And he's going to have a master plan to make sure you stay comfortable.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
What's the way to build your wealth?
I want to talk about annuities and variable life insurance policies. And I'm going to come right out and say that I've never been a fan of either. In fact, in over 30 years, I have rarely recommended annuities to clients. And in that same time, I've never recommended a variable life insurance policy. Now, it's always a matter of opinion, and there are two sides to every story. I just want to make sure that you've heard both sides for both options. So if you're looking at those types of products, give us a call, because it's prudent to hear all sides. At the very least, we can give you the pros and cons and help you make a good decision. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies. What's the way to build your wealth?
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Team Pella executing incredible plays. Products with limited lifetime warranties. Amazing innovations. Blinds and shades between the glass. Stylish windows with hidden screens that make game days a breeze. Installation completed in as little as a day, leaving no mess or hassle. Just perfect results. Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com. 6.99 APR for 120 months. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Offers end 10/31/23.
This is Bucks Talk.
122-114, Bucks beat the Miami Heat tonight. So the good, it is a 2-1 start under head coach Adrian Griffin. You beat the Miami Heat. Look, I know the faces have changed somewhat. You didn't see Jimmy Butler at all in the fourth quarter. Caleb Martin did not play in this game. Bam Adebayo did not play in this game. Some of those other faces gone in the offseason in Max Strus and Caleb Martin, or Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. Strus in Cleveland with the Cavaliers, now Vincent with the Lakers. But you did get a win. But it's one of those rare instances where you don't leave feeling all that great. I think the big difference is, look, we spent quite a bit of time talking about this on last night's show. It's going to take time. We heard from Cameron Payne after the game, and he talked about reps being what's most important for this team. You didn't see Chris until the final preseason game. So there were so many minutes that you missed out on having Giannis and Chris and Brooke and Dame on the floor, Malik Beasley as well as that fifth starter, even guys like Cameron Payne and the rest of the second unit to get some minutes with portions of that group. Also keep in mind, this is a brand new offense. New concepts, new schemes, same defensively. You're learning that, and you're learning new teammates and their tendencies. It's going to take time. And I keep going back to 2021, the amount of time we saw for that team to develop that chemistry and round into form. It wasn't until around the All-Star break that you started to feel like, all right, this team is starting to come together. I don't know how long it's going to be. But I can tell you it's not going to be 3 games. It's not going to be 5 games. It's not anything that by the time that game on Friday against the New York Knicks comes and goes, we won't be saying, okay, the Bucks have figured it out, and now this is the team we can expect to see going forward. It is going to take time. You're going to have to be patient with what you see. But if we just go back to Thursday night against the Philadelphia 76ers, you're getting some of these reps in closing situations. Now, tonight, that was the bet from what we saw. Good in the sense that you won, but the way you closed this game not quite as strong as the way you did against the Sixers on Thursday. But you're developing more of those reps and opportunities, and that's what it's going to take for this team to get through this and ultimately become the version of the Bucks that we expect to see headed into the playoffs. And who knows? Maybe these two teams, the Bucks and the Miami Heat, will be on a collision course once again in the postseason. It's happened 3 times in the last 4 years, 5 years, and each of those times, the team that won that series went on to represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. 855-616-1620, the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. And look, these two teams are going to play again in about a month, and that is going to be a part of the in-season tournament. As we talked about last night, the Bucks group features the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, the Washington Wizards, and the Charlotte Hornets. The Bucks are going to be the favorite to come out of their group. So you have 6 group winners and then one team that finished second in each conference. The team with the best record that finished second in those group games, that is your fourth quarterfinals team for the conference version of this of this in-season tournament. When these two teams face off again at the end of November, you're going to have another month under your belt if you're the Bucks, under Adrian Griffin's system, playing with a Damian Lillard, playing with a Malik Beasley, 40% of your starting lineup brand new. Some of those role players on the second unit. Cameron Payne, who we mentioned, he's new to this group. You're going to have about a month under your belt with Cameron Payne getting more and more reps to run that second unit offense. Some of the young guys as well. Another month under your belt. So both these teams are going to look different when they face each other again at the end of November, assuming health is not an issue. As we mentioned, all the names you didn't see for the Miami Heat tonight, you saw the names tonight for the Bucks, but they just need some time. And I think reps is the word I will keep going back to, the way Cameron Payne put it. That's your big takeaway. It's going to take games, it's going to take minutes, it's going to take reps, all of that for this team to round into form. But if you can pick up wins while you're doing it, that's going to be the big thing. 855-616-1620 is the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. About 30 minutes left on the show. When we come back, I want to take a look at Chris Middleton and what he brought to the team tonight. We've got a very, very small sample size of Chris Middleton action so far this season. But I think what we've seen so far has been very, very good. And I think Adrian Griffin had some interesting things to say about Chris. We'll tell you those comments and get to what we've seen from Chris in these 2 games this season next on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
So I came to Advent because I was experiencing recurrent sinus infections. As a new mom, it was really kind of difficult.
Many of our patients complain of sinus infections. The headaches, fatigue, and nasal stuffiness have a profound effect on their lives.
I just felt like your sickness starts affecting your energy level and, the things that you really enjoy doing. That really was a breaking point for me.
So Molly came to Advent. Abnormally tight sinuses and swollen turbinates led to simple breathing triangle solutions that ended up taking about 20 minutes in office. And very soon thereafter, she was breathing freely.
I'm just in awe at the amount of air that that I'm able to breathe in and out each night, and I haven't had a sinus infection since the procedure.
I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. When you breathe well, you do live better.
Results may vary.
This is Brad Yumbert with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. There's a lot of fluff around window sales, but what really matters is the type of people you choose to have working for you. That's why I want to highlight Semper Fi's own CJ Callies. He's been selling, measuring, installing, and managing window installations for 35 plus years. He has a depth of knowledge that allows him to see problems before they happen, and I swear, I think the guy can see behind walls. He's easy to work with, and I can't think of a customer who hasn't liked working with him, and he really is the kind of guy you're going to want on your job. CJ's in charge of our entire window and door division, and you can be assured he's going to have his hands on your project. Most companies focus on the product. At Semper Fi, we focus on our people and you, and that's never let us down. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, call Semper Fi, because you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
Keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
We asked people why they sold their homes to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent. We needed to sell Mom's home quickly and with a company we could rely on.
No showings, no closing costs, no staging, no real estate agent fees, no added stress.
Whether you have a hard-to-sell home, want a stress-free sale, or simply need to sell your home fast, Grandview Homes is the name you know and the name you can trust. Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
This is Bucks Talk.
8-point win for the Bucks tonight at Fiserv Forum. I don't know if it's a revenge game or extracting revenge because, number one, this is the regular season, and the Miami Heat did this to the Bucks as an 8 seed in the postseason. And secondly, all those names that we mentioned that were not on the floor tonight for the Miami Heat. But one name that was on the floor tonight for the Bucks is Chris Middleton. Did not play last night, and we knew that was going to be the case. When we saw the injury report, Chris, the only name on there, and told, look, this is part of the ramp-up plan. There was, I suppose we can say, a report by Chris Haynes during the season opener this past Thursday that the plan, according to what Chris Haynes had heard, is for Chris to kind of go through this and experience some limited minutes for the first 6 or 7 games of the season before he's fully up to speed and they take the training wheels off, so to speak. 17 minutes tonight for Chris. He played 16 minutes in the season opener. And in both of those games, Thursday against the Sixers, tonight against the Heat, 12 minutes in the first half, and 4 minutes roughly, 5-ish minutes tonight. In the third quarter, no playing at all in the fourth. So when we talk about some of the names that were not on the floor for the Heat, you didn't have Chris Middleton in the fourth quarter. And again, that's when things started to go south. We heard Adrian Griffin talk about, look, this is a learning experience for me too, when I saw some of the things that weren't working, to learn from it and know, okay, do I need another ball handler? Do we need to change some of the lineups that we're throwing out there in the stretch drive and closing things out? And Chris Middleton's a big piece of that, as he even pointed out. Look, Chris does so much for this team. He's a ball handler. He can set other guys up. But I thought the 33-ish minutes, 32 and a half minutes that we've seen from Chris Middleton this season, I think what we've seen from him this season, I think Chris has looked very, very good. He does not look stiff. He doesn't look to be slowed at all. And look, when we go back to this postseason series last spring against the Heat, I think that was the case. That you could look at Chris Middleton and say, there's something that's just not right there. He doesn't look quite as fluid or as quick. That hasn't been the case tonight. And there was one play specifically, to me, as you watched it happen, that made you think, okay, I feel pretty good about Chris Middleton. I have no concerns going forward, because it was one of those Chris Middleton plays where he he is fouled on a three-pointer, but he absorbed some contact on that knee that went through the surgery and had to awkwardly find where is he going to plant his foot to not fall down. To go through all that, get up, look perfectly fine and comfortable doing it, that to me was the sign of, okay, he's fine. Defensively is where you would have had the big questions of who can he stick with. He couldn't stick with Jimmy Butler last year. Nobody could stick with Jimmy Butler in that first-round series. Tonight we saw Giannis take that challenge a couple of times throughout the game. In the third quarter, in the first quarter, Giannis stayed out of foul trouble. We saw Jay Crowder take that on. Those are going to be the types of guys that the Bucks are looking to throw out there. And by the way, speaking of Giannis, you may have seen on his way into the arena tonight, he was wearing an Incredible Hulk mask and hands. While Giannis sat down to address the media just a couple of moments ago, he was wearing that same mask and Hulk hands while talking to the media. But Chris Middleton, I think, has looked very good so far, and as he gets fully up to speed, even if it's 10 games, whatever it is, when you throw him into that mix, that's your third option. And you think about what that's going to do for this offense. Not just his scoring ability, but as Adrian Griffin said, his ball handling ability, everything else that he brings to the team. And what struck me the most about Chris Middleton and about what Adrian Griffin had to say about Chris Middleton was the way he described Giannis and Chris individually. Giannis is the heart and soul, but Chris Middleton is the glue. He pulls everyone together and makes everyone better. He's a high IQ player. When he's not on the floor, he's missed. He's progressing every day, and I look forward to the day that we can really throw those guys out there for an extended amount of time. So, Adrian Griffin already sees this guy. When we talk about the connectivity, that's a big piece of Chris Middleton's game on both ends of the floor. 855-616-1620, the number to join us tonight on Bucks Talk. Head to the phone lines, talk with Justin in North Carolina. What's going on tonight, Justin?
Hey, man, I'm just so excited anytime we beat this Miami Heat. I don't care if it's the Dade County Boys and Girls Club. I don't want them to win anything. I had a unique experience tonight being in Richmond, Virginia for work. I had to listen to the game with Dave Kane on the radio, and it's amazing. He does a hell of a job, and so do you, JG, on the air, and I just really enjoyed it tonight. But I'm going to tell you something. If Chris Middleton plays this entire game, I don't think we see a fourth quarter from any of our starters, and we're talking about our young boys being in the game playing this out. But so the next time we play him is going to be for this new cup thing we have going on, right?
It's going to be a part of that, yeah.
It's going to be a part of it. We got to beat the Knicks on Friday. We got to beat the Hornets the following Friday, and then we're going to play these guys again. So at first I was kind of with you guys a couple games ago with my guy Dick. Shout out to Dick in Port Washington. But I was like, man, I don't really care. But now, as I sit, being a guy that saw every bad Bucks team, I want that regular season cup. I want that postseason cup. I want every possible cup we can get. Every banner we can get in Milwaukee. And I don't know, Justin, I'm just so excited right now. And we got to keep in mind, Brooke Lopez had a bad shooting night tonight. Malik Beasley had a bad shooting night tonight. And we still found a way to beat these guys. And one thing about Spoelstra, as much as we all hate him in Milwaukee, he gets his guys ready to play. So this is an impressive win for me. The Philadelphia one is impressive. And like you were just saying, with the glue, with Middleton, that's key. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, I don't know who did the pregame interview with Adrian Griffin, but that was amazing. And to look at a different sport, but when you hear Sean Payton talk about the previous Denver Broncos coach and the accolades and the respect that Griffin gave to Budenholzer, hey, man, it's a great time to be a Bucks fan, and this is a winning culture here. And it's completely different across the board, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for the call, Justin. And I do want to touch on that because I thought there was two very, very interesting things we heard Adrian Griffin asked in the responses that he gave were the interesting parts prior to this game. So I do want to touch on that when we come back. 122-114 final score. Bucks take down the Miami Heat to get to 2-1 on the season. More after this on Bucks Talk.
This is Bucks Talk.
Serve our nation's heroes at the Milwaukee VA Medical Center. CNAs, LPNs, RNs, and NPs, bring your resume to the Nursing Career Fair Wednesday, November 1st from 2 to 6 p.m. The VA's best in industry benefits include work-life balance, 11 paid holidays, generous paid time off and sick leave, 12 weeks paid parental leave, scholarship programs, pensions, and more. Come on November 1st between 2 and 6 p.m. and accelerate your nursing career at the Milwaukee VA, 5000 West National Avenue.
Once you've lived with it, you know there's no comparison. Hydronic heating is the best in comfort. And when it comes to hydronic heating, the man in the red van can do it all with a 96% efficiency modulating heat boiler, slant fin wall-mounted radiating heat, cast iron radiators, or how about in-floor heat that we can even lay in below your new driveway on your new home build so you never have to shovel. Now we're talking.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
So here's why you'd want an Armstrong Air heat pump. Consider a powerful electric backup to your gas furnace that can do the work of your furnace very efficiently. That means lower energy bills. And it has a rock-solid 12-year warranty and can act as an AC unit too. But here's the real gist of it. With all the government tax credits you get, you almost get the darn thing free. So see the man in the red van to get reliable efficiency from an Armstrong Air heat pump.
You gotta see the man in the red van. Quality heating, quality heating.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
Get ready, Wisconsin. It's Medicare annual enrollment period, so why not make enrolling easier with United Healthcare? Whether you choose our online tools or over-the-phone support, United Healthcare will help you compare options so you can choose a plan with confidence. This is Medicare made for Wisconsin. Trusted everywhere. Explore our wide range of plans by calling United Healthcare today at 1-855-MEET-UHC. That's 1-855-MEET-UHC. Annual enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th, so call today.
This is Bucks Talk.
Bucks beat the Miami Heat tonight, 122-114, the final score inside a Fiserv Forum. First road game of the season is going to come up on Wednesday night in Toronto against the Raptors. Getting back to Justin's point on one of the comments from Adrian Griffin prior to this game, the parallels and the comparison he made between Sean Payton, who went out of his way to mention how poorly coached the Denver Broncos that he took over, how poorly coached they were, and how it was one of the worst coaching jobs you had seen in the NFL, versus what Adrian Griffin had to say about Mike Budenholzer, his staff, and what the Bucks went through in the postseason against the Miami Heat. One of the questions from, I believe, Eric Reed of the Miami Heat broadcast team to Griff prior to the game was about Adrian Griffin's interview process. And, the last time these two teams faced, it was in the postseason. And it was the Miami Heat as the 8th seed taking down the Bucks, and that's what ultimately led to this job opening up. So the question was, how much of that did you watch, and what were your thoughts on it, and how much of that came up in your interview with the Bucks? And Adrian Griffin said, look, when I was interviewing with the team, I went through and I watched it. It wasn't so much in real time that I was intently going through this, but as I was going through the process, you go back and you watch those games, and certainly that comes up, and you mentioned some things that you see. I talked about it with John Horst and some of the front office. So in that sense, yeah, it came up. I definitely watched the games in this series, and I said to John and his staff, I think they, being the Bucks, did a lot of great things. I wasn't trying to come in here and reinvent the wheel. My approach was to build on a strong foundation. There was clearly an excellent culture here. Bud is an excellent coach, verbatim. That is an exact quote from Adrian Griffin. Bud is an excellent coach, and he's well respected. This league is just about change. It's inevitable. I wasn't trying to come in and blow everything up. I'm just trying to add to it. We still have work to do, but this wasn't my job to come in here and say, well, look, I wouldn't have done this, this, and this, and I think you did this wrong. Adrian Griffin approached this as, this isn't a total tear-down or rebuild. I think these things are in place. These are things that Mike Budenholzer brought to Milwaukee and instilled. I want to take those things, and I want to take it to the next level. So a very, very different approach from what we heard versus what Sean Payton said when he took over the Denver Broncos. The other thing, though, that I found to be very, very interesting was Adrian Griffin was asked about Jimmy Butler. Because remember, when Adrian Griffin was hired, one of the only things a lot of Bucs fans knew about him was, well, I think he played for the Bucs, which he did. He began his assistant coaching career with the Bucs as well. But Jimmy Butler was maybe the biggest champion of Adrian Griffin for years, having worked with him in Chicago when Butler was a rookie and very young in his career with the Bulls. Jimmy Butler then wanted Adrian Griffin to be hired as head coach when Tom Thibodeau left. Jimmy Butler has credited Adrian Griffin with his development. Not saying, hey, Adrian Griffin's the reason I'm here, but saying Adrian Griffin's been a big part of it. So Adrian Griffin was asked, your experience with Jimmy Butler, what have you seen from him? And he gave an incredibly long and well-thought-out answer that a lot of the things he said to describe Jimmy Butler were very, very similar to what we just heard from Adrian Griffin about an hour ago talking about Giannis. When I think of him, I think of someone who is driven to be successful. He was driven to be an elite player in this league. He had the drive at a young age. I remember when he was a rookie, there were times when he would come up to me and he would say, I want to guard LeBron. I can guard LeBron. As a rookie. And Adrian Griffin said, I'm looking at him thinking, are you sure? That's LeBron James. But there were times, as a rookie, as a second-year player, he got that assignment, and he did a good job. And that taught me a lesson, that as a coach, you have to believe in your players. Sometimes what we think a player's ceiling is isn't accurate. Now, Jimmy Butler turned himself into a heck of a player. He keeps getting better. It was his drive at a young age. He's willing to do the work to get there. A lot of players want those things. They want the accolades, but very seldom are they willing to do what it takes. Jimmy was one of the hardest workers I've been around. And we heard Griff basically say the same things about Giannis after the game tonight. So those two things, very, very interesting to hear from Adrian Griffin prior to tonight's game. We'll wrap up the show and preview the next game against the Raptors after this on Bucs Talk.
This is Bucs Talk.
Wholesale mulch? No problem. We deliver to residential or wholesale accounts, and we can supply you with whatever volume of the highest quality mulch you need. Nobody around here has more mulch than Erickson's. We'll deliver you a 1-yard pickup truck load all the way up to 100 yards in a walking floor trailer. And if you just need a little bit, swing by and we'll fill up a 5-gallon bucket or two. It's the best mulch you'll find. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential. Visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Our decorative stone is available by the handful for pickup, all the way up to 24-ton load deliveries. And our stone is superlative. We scour the countryside, countrywide, from Arizona to the Carolinas. We search pretty much the whole U.S. of A. to find you easily the best stone selection in southeastern Wisconsin. See a rainbow of decorative stone colors to match any exterior decor. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
What's the way to build your wealth?
While going over a new client's statements from one of the big financial firms, I was floored when I read that firm does not offer tax or estate planning advice. Because we know that saving money for our clients on their taxes, legally and well within the law, can make a huge difference in their financial plan. If you want to wisely build your wealth, it is my firm opinion that without a comprehensive approach, you're going to be at a big disadvantage. At Financial Strategies, Inc., we're taking a deep dive and creating comprehensive strategies that develop your retirement, investment, and your tax and estate planning. And all under a fee-only structure that means the success we care about most is yours. I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to FinancialStrategiesInc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Offering a memory disorder program that's first of its kind in Wisconsin isn't just about innovation. It's about providing thorough diagnoses to improve treatments and help people live better. The Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Neuroscience Institute is a nationally recognized leader in the diagnosis and treatment of complex brain disorders, and will do everything humanly possible to help you keep being you. To see a specialist with the expertise to help you, go to freighter.com/neuro.
This is Bucks Talk.
Bucks hold off the Heat tonight at Fiserv Forum, 122-114, and now do something they have not done since the fourth preseason game in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. And that is play a road game. So it has been more than 2 weeks since the Bucks will have played a road game. But that happens Wednesday night when they head to Toronto to take on the Raptors. And we mentioned this a couple of times, but just the rather interesting start to the head coaching career of Adrian Griffin to have your first game against Nick Nurse and the Philadelphia 76ers, who Adrian Griffin won an NBA championship with on his staff with the Raptors. And now your first road game is in that city against the Toronto Raptors. He talked about it a little bit after the game, too, saying, look, I know their coach. I know Darko. I know all of those players. I know what to expect from them. It's a very, very good team. They'll be prepared. And I told our team, we got to be ready for it. But then it also added, it would be nice to get that win in Toronto. We saw the celebration that there was after the win Thursday against the 76ers in the locker room. Saw videos of that come out, and I'm sure we will see something similar if the Bucks are able to take down the Raptors Wednesday night and get Adrian Griffin not only his first head coaching win on the road, but against a team that he had spent so much time with as an assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors. One other thing to make note of. Next home game is going to be Friday night against the New York Knicks. That is part of the in-season tournament. And we will see the City Edition jerseys that night. We will also see an alternate court, as the league has already unveiled all 30 teams' alternate courts that they will use for the in-season tournament. You can see those on NBA.com. Wednesday night in Toronto, that's the Bucks and the Raptors, 6 o'clock tip. 5:30 is when we get started. And as always, right back here afterwards with Bucks Talk.
If you can't get a good night's sleep, let me ask you, are you breathing well? Because if you're snoring or waking up each night with a stuffed up nose, or frustrated with your CPAP mask, the root of your sleep problem lies in your breathing triangle. And if any one of those passages isn't working, you won't sleep well. And there's no mattress, pill, or other gimmick that can fix that. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. A recipe for a good night's sleep starts with an open airway. Now, there are devices that can help solve snoring or sleep apnea problems. If you walk into a sleep center, know you'll walk out with a CPAP. And you might find other options elsewhere, but the simple truth is, if your nose doesn't work properly, no device will help. Only at Advent will you find every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution, along with a world-class team that can get your nose working properly again.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
From ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. President Biden adding his voice to the chorus of concern over artificial intelligence.
The president saying artificial intelligence is already revolutionizing technology, but
to realize the promise of AI and avoid the risk, we need to govern this technology.
President says AI has made social media more addictive for children. He's issued an executive order requiring companies to share AI